Hi, this is from the End Times News Report, which has shared some very interesting videos, and especially an 8-part video presentation about crimes against children, sex crimes against children by people acting in gangs and groups. And I'm going to play you this clip without the sound, because he shared this TSA groping of a son at DFW airport at Dallas. And this, what you're going to see, is an example of what is going on in this world and the kind of psychology that's really having a field day on human and children's rights abuses. And we are living in a paedophile's paradise that's run by paedophiles. Now, I would ask you to watch this series of videos that have been made by End Times News Report. Okay, just watch these videos from all of these, Series 1, Episode 2, Episode 3. This one in particular, Out of the Darkness into the Light, the Bride of Lucifer. Okay. This is a British girl, sorry. Trying to find it. Here we go, yeah. This is a British girl, and you know, this episode in particular, okay, and this, what she is talking, happened in central London. Her nana fed her, made her eat fetuses that had been aborted from her own fetus. She was made to eat it. The things this child describes, and that was, you know, people basically saying that she was lying. It's beyond belief. You know, you only have to listen to this child's testimony. Her straight-faced presentation, just like the Hampstead children, very matter-of-fact. She sheds tears when she talks about having a baby at age 11. And people still think that the Hampstead children are lying. Okay. And this whole establishment thinks that it can cover up serious crimes against children with minor negligence, something that's classed as minor negligence, because the horrors that their authorities, that the professionals working in their authorities, the horrors that they inflict on children are so terrible that they're actually using that, oh no, it's too terrible, nobody would do that to a child, it's impossible. Really, is it? What, from a parliament that goes and bombs children with depleted uranium and that denies its workforce its rights of pension and retirement, that wants to scrap our human rights? And I will leave you the link, especially to this episode, because British people need to see it. Okay. Because British people need to get the head out of the beer bottles and the packets and the soaps. Because this world is going to drop. It's going to fall. It is falling. It has fallen. The facade has vanished. And there we find the motley crew, who've all managed to scramble to the top. Well, it's a very, very long way down, isn't it? just hanging in the air, because actually your positions of power, your wealth and everything you've got is based on what? On what knowledge, what truth, what law? And Theresa May, you know, if you think you're going to remove human rights from this country, you have got one. Seriously, you're not going to do it, okay? Because people like me are not going to allow you to. And it's not just people like me. The universal intelligence isn't going to allow you to. And just because you think, you and your cronies, who don't even believe in God, but do actually believe in Lucifer, okay, you're, what? The light that tells you it's okay to kill children, you know, this is what we do because we're gods, we can do what we like. Okay, it's might equals right, do as thy will. That's the real law. Everybody else, you know, that's a fantasy, the universal law. That's a fantasy, it's a myth, you know. The universe that created us is a myth. No, you're the myth. Your parliament is the myth. It's a fantasy that came out of some historical person's head. It'd be better off actually being converted into flats. By today, we need a new parliament because that place is just full of evil. In fact, it needs exercising. But you know, this is a British child, an example of British children, and the things that have been happening to British children. And here, I have a report somewhere along here. Oh, here it is. Yeah, you know, how many billions is it that are spent on children every year? It is written down in this report, Theresa May, you know, about all the children who go missing and get trafficked out of care. You know, children who've been trafficked are usually gone missing from the children's home within a week. It is estimated that 60% of child victims of trafficking in local authority care go missing. Almost 2/3 of trafficked children are never found. Most go missing within 1 week of being in care, many within 48 hours. Okay. I mean, the saying here is because they've been groomed so effectively by the trackers that the children are terrified, you know, they run away back to the traffickers. Do they really? Or are they just fucking taken out of there because the traffickers have got connections? They don't want that child speaking to police. See, look, before even being registered with social services, wham, they're gone. Yeah. Because they all run away back to the traffickers, don't they? No. No, they don't. They get taken out of there. We know that. This is your country, Theresa May. Right? This is what you lot have been sitting over. Because you're scum. Okay, that is what you are. You scum. Okay. And this is a report about exactly how scummy you are. Okay. How scummy your country is. What kind of care it provides to its children. You know. And it does explain in this report that that £2.1 billion a year is spent on privatised childcare. So basically you've got G4S there getting its share of the billions, haven't you? Global Security Fund involved in jailing and abusing Palestinian children. Right, that's who you've got looking after British children, and they're getting a big share out of that, and they've got an absolutely terrible track record of child abuse and neglect in their homes. Average cost per child, £200,000. And some private children's homes charge up to £250,000 for children with complex needs. So what? Every child is worth £200,000 now to a private corporation, and the parents are working for £20,000 to look after them, and these people with £200,000 cannot even give them the care they need, and they're being sent out out into the world, chucked out at age 16 and 17 with not even an education or a university place. And these are children cared for by the state, and in fact loads of them are going missing, and it says in here that they're being used in sexual exploitation rings. So yes, this is a message not just to the public, but to Theresa May as well, the so-called Prime Minister of Britain. You know, what's she ministering then? Is she ministering keeping a lid on her evil satanic ministers' criminal activities? What is she there for? She's a front person for the corporate government, for their corporate banks. Okay? That's what you are, isn't it, Theresa May? But you know, Joy's watching. You thought that there was no such thing as Jar. Just a fantasy. The only thing that was real was your evil devil man with all his money in his evil bank. Well, you know how Jesus was so angry that Jesus, with the mercy and compassion he's got, was driven to whipping the money men in the temple. That's how outraged. And it took a group of, I think it was a group of children. It took a group to calm him down from the anger, the wrath that he felt. So imagine how Jesus feels looking at this, reading this report from Great Britain with its great queen. Who really? What is the crown? Forget the queen. She's an abused child who's just been raised like a little indoctrinated little robot. She's so small that really you can't even... It's the crown, isn't it? The power. The power. The crown that stamped its foot on Africa and stamped its foot on America and stamped its foot on Australia and stamped its foot on New Zealand and stamped its foot all around the world. Because it was the new Caesar, wasn't it? Ruler of the waves. And went stamping around in Jesus' name. And you think Jesus could look at any of you without his eyes, the gaze from his eyes just burning like a fire onto you? Because you are so abominable and so disgusting, and you've slandered his name, and you've brought dishonour to humanity while calling yourselves Christians. And your crown, your evil crown, is head of your ignorant, twisted, sick church. Of course, I'm not talking about the people who believe and who still attend the churches. I'm talking about the powers that are vamping off that church and have been controlling the word of Jah to deceive and lie to people and confuse them And you shrouded universal reality into a mystery. Okay, that's what your crown is, a mystery. And this is what it gives birth to, filth that abuses children. Prostitutes them. Like Bob Marley said, breeding prostitutes, thieves and murderers. That's what you want to do, innit? Because that's what you all are. Prostitutes, thieves and murderers. And you impose your evil psychology on the whole of society and persecute the very, very poorest who have what choice? No choice for them, but lots of choices for you. You with the money and the power. And what choices have you chosen? Choices to pay G4S £200,000 a year per child that you've stolen from a family home because there was a future emotional risk. Oh, mummy can't cope, she's going through a difficult divorce, as if a difficult divorce lasts for a child's lifetime. As if you can't provide a bit of family support. Oh no, why provide family support and deny G4S, a global security firm, £200,000 a year? You dirty fuckers. You're not going to get away with it. You're not going to get away with it. Okay? Because the universe is watching. The universe knows. And you think, Theresa, mate, that, you know, your Zionist bankers are saying, throw down your sickle and reap because the harvest of the earth is ripe. And that's what you corporations are doing now, isn't it? You're reaping in all the public properties, all the public services. Throw down your sickle and reap. The harvest of the earth is ripe. Oh. I think you all forgot that this earth belongs to Jah. It belongs to universal law. Okay. Is the husband of this planet. And Jah is thrown down the sickle and shall reap the human consciousness into a higher intelligence and understanding and knowledge and love, and there shall be none of your kind included. Because actually you're a very poor harvest. All you scum that's ridden to the top of your own cooking pots. You know, spirit cooking. That's what you've all been doing, isn't it? Well, your spirits are now going to cook in the flames and fire of truth, and it will hurt. But none of the innocent shall get burned. And that's how it is. But the truth will hit home deep. And you either get strong and change, or you don't. You go crazy and end up in a psychiatric unit, where actually a lot of you belong anyway. If any of you had any sense, you'd be down there yourselves. But you're all going to crumble from within. No one's going to have to shoot you or do anything at all to you. You're all going to crumble from within. Okay? And that is what is going to happen. Because that's the law. And time is one thing to humanity. Time is another thing to the universe. Humanity is an evolving, developing species. And we are about to progress in our psychological evolution. And you people and your evil paedophiles are standing in the way. And you're trying to prevent that. And that's why. I know this is why you do what you do. I understand. I know. Okay? I know what you're all about, and your pledges to scrap human rights. Well, you can fuck off, okay? And if you think that Jesus can beat the money men in the temple, do not think for 1 second that the righteous people of today who truly care about and stand by Jesus cannot tell you lot to fuck off, because that's what you deserve and that's what you are, fuckers, right? And only a fucker government could run a country the way this country has been run, and only a fucker government could do the things that this country has done and have the history of the wealth, the history that has provided the wealth to the Queen, the royal crown, the countless people that have suffered in order for this country to be what? Great Britain, ruler of the waves, the empire on which the sun never set, with its commonwealth that it's now going to vamp off because it's decided it doesn't want to be part of EU law, as none of the countries want to be part of EU law either, and they'll all be breaking away too, won't they? And then the corporations will be very happy because they can get right into Europe. That's why DynCorp's perched in Britain right now, isn't it? Waiting to get into Europe as countries start to abolish people's human rights, you know. And David Icke, you can fuck off if you don't wake up. If you cannot accept the intelligence of what I'm sharing and saying, then, you know, I do say you are a shill. If you cannot stand by me, okay? Because I am seriously sick to death of being treated like a twat and being judged by people. Judged because I swear. Swear! You fucking... Do you know what? The rage that I feel and the pain, and yet I haven't got a nuclear bomb, have I? I haven't gone out and killed anybody. I've not gone and damaged anybody or harmed any property, and yet you fuckers who go and bomb people on a suspicion will dare to judge me for saying the word fuck. Well, do you know what? That ain't a blasphemy to to use the word fuck when you're talking about fuckers. Okay? What's a blasphemy to jar is your label, minor, on a child. That's a blasphemy. To call a child an unimportant, lesser human being, that is a blasphemy. Okay? To call a child illegitimate, that is a blasphemy. And you're never ever going to get away with what you're doing, because the truth is shining, and there's no hiding place from it. You cannot run away from it. It will burn into your soul. And everything that I said in my video about DynCorp, which I'll leave the link to it under here, this here is an example, okay? It is an example of what is going on.
Something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out
Sorry.
just what it was. Then you've come to the right place. Secret Society.
Sorry about that. But this, you know, I was describing in one of my videos about how lawless this world is, that it'll even deny the laws of physics as it did on 9/11. And I explained that the people asking questions who are being scoffed as conspiracy theorists and all this kind of shit, because we are accepting the evidence in front of our eyes and the forensic evidence, shows us nanothermite is in the dust. So I don't care what anybody says. Nanothermite, military grade nanothermite has been found in the dust. So go away with everything else, okay? People have been put in jail for life on the strength of a pissing fingerprint. And so I was saying that there is no angry mob. There's just enlightened, intelligent people asking serious questions. Like children, fearlessly, courageously, asking questions. Okay? But this is what the American public have got now, this mob. Okay? This mob of fuckers who've now the employ. Who the fuck do they employ? To go through everybody's luggage and grope the children. Why? Oh, because America's so scared of Muslim terrorists that did 9/11. Except they didn't do 9/11, did it? Did they? We know it was an inside job. It was done by the corporation, probably the private corporation, military wing was included. We know that it was plotted and schemed for by bankers. It had to have been. They're the only ones that have pissing well profited out of it. They used it to destroy all the evidence that would have proven their fraud and theft and would have landed them in jail and bankrupt. But no, instead, they bombed the evidence, didn't they? And then get the country into war. And then all get massive bailouts paid for by the public, who then have to lose their homes, because that's reaping the harvest, isn't it? Selling homes to people at an expensive price and then buying them back at half price, isn't it? And still leaving the people in debt. That's the kind of thing, that's what this system is doing, and that's what it's done. It's even robbed people of their pensions. And now wants to rob British people, even of our NHS. It wants to vamp off the fact that people in Britain get sick. So, you know, this is the mob, right? You are a mob, and you employ mobs. And everybody watch this, because this is what these fuckers do. And this is what the American public now has to deal with. And this little boy has been groped now by a fucker. They even missed their flight because they kept them for an hour, a family, an American family, for an hour, over an hour. They missed the flight, okay, because they had to go through every single bit of the luggage. They had to check every single bit of this child, okay. And this is the kind of power they've been getting on the strength of lies. And that's why, Theresa May, your game is up. You're over. You're gone. And as I say, you can do what you like, but you will never get away from the truth. And you will never get away from universal intelligence. And you think it isn't true. Well, I feel sorry for you. That's all I can say. So here it goes.
Have managed once again to traumatize
Look.
an American family. I want you to watch how many times this TSA pig rubs his hands around this boy's genitals during the pat-down that took place at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. A mother named Jennifer Williamson wrote about the experience on Facebook. The incident happened Sunday morning as she and her son, a boy who has a sensory processing disorder, were passing through a security checkpoint. The boy had not done anything to attract extra attention. He didn't set off any alarms. He passed through the metal detector without any trouble. But the TSA decided that the boy needed special screening, as if there was actually some chance that he posed a terrorism risk or might be too dangerous to get on a plane. So the TSA held the mother and her son for nearly an hour. During that time, they inspected every item in the 3 carry-on bags they were carrying. They also had 2 Dallas police officers and a TSA supervisor flank the boy, while another agent repeatedly groped his crotch. The TSA caused Jennifer and her son to miss their flight, and hours after the incident, the boy was still asking his mother what he had done wrong to cause so much trouble. Jennifer wrote this: "Somehow, These power-tripping TSA agents who are traumatizing children and doing whatever they feel like without any cause need to be reined in. In my opinion, all of this trouble goes back to the false flag operation that took place on September 11th in 2001, back when the deep state used those attacks to manipulate a fear-filled public into giving up their rights to privacy in exchange for false promises of security from the government. Let the words of Benjamin Franklin not be forgotten. He said, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." For the End Times News Report, I'm Jake Morphonios.
So, you know, you saw that, and thank you to End Times News Report. What was going on there? What the bloody hell was all that about? Who could have thought that the simple task of taking a plane would involve all of this? And on strength of a pack of lies. Because the only people that America needs to fear are the people of this psychology who fuck about with kids. Okay? And that's why I say, Theresa, mate, you know, there is a day of reckoning on hand. And you people are going to face reality, whether you like it or not. Okay? You're going to listen. You're going to know. The public will know exactly what you have been hiding and how you've been silencing and even imprisoning and even framing witnesses and victims. One of the young girls that had reported the crimes in this case had even passed a lie detector test. She ended up in jail for 9 years. For perjury. For perjury. Right? A young girl who's been sexually abused by VIP so-called abusers. And the whole system covers it up. And she ends up getting jailed for 9 years. But meanwhile, your lying Ministry of Defence will go and tell Parliament that, oh yes, depleted uranium weapons have been through the Geneva Convention requirements for a review. And then 11 years after you've been using them and caused massive major damage to a whole environment and people and children and babies. Oh, suddenly the minister from the MOD has to apologise to Parliament, doesn't it? 11 years later, to say, "Oh, I'm sorry. It seems that there wasn't any review. Oh, right. So Iraq's now polluted with depleted uranium that has a half-life of 500 billion years. You fucking evil scum." And this is what I mean about you, Theresa May, that you will just sit there and you won't even come into your head, okay, that you are Prime Minister. You are responsible for what this country has done. And you have sat in that Parliament for how long? And the same as you, Jeremy Corbyn. You know, the people sing your praises like you're the second pissing coming. Except you're not. You're a Mr. Wishy-washy, claptrap twat who refused to investigate Islington Children's Homes. And you've refused to even speak out against the incredible lack of justice for the children in the Hampstead case. And you think you're all going to get away with it because we can just dismiss 2 little children, can't we? And all have a, you know, a scoff at how ridiculous. And how ridiculous are the people who would believe such things? How ridiculous are we to believe that little girl? You know, she's just a liar, isn't she? Because that's what children do. They make up ridiculous, wild fantasies about having babies and being forced to eat their own fetuses that's been forcibly aborted from them. That's just what she's made up, isn't it? And you think you're all going to get away with it? Well, you're not. Not one of you. And this establishment is going down because you're full of filth. You're full of filth. You're that full of filth. You've even got a High Court judge to protect you all. And that's how dangerous you all are. Okay? And you think your corporate paedophile military is going to protect you? Well, I don't think so. Because you know what? Not everybody is a paedophile. Okay? And the people in those corporations will stand against all of you. And the people, the good people in your police stations will stand against all of you. Because all God's people are in Babylon. Okay? And they will come through. And Jah is throwing his sickle down. Her sickle. Okay? Because Jah created man in our own image to be like us. Male and female. Man, both male and female. God, God and Goddess. Yes, and the sickle shall be thrown down, and the harvest shall be reaped of a humanity enlightened and empowered to speak out and stand up for their rights, and all your evil will be crushed. And me, who am I? I'm just a little piece of dirt. That's all I am. A little piece of dirt. A little piece of dirt that has grown up ashamed of being dirt. Oh, actually no. I'm a little piece of shiny quantum energy. Okay? That's the power, that's the singularity that gave birth to this whole universe. And it shall never be defeated. And you people, you've had your day, you've had your fun, and now the new life is coming. And those who are so happy in this disgusting, filthy world, who get so offended to hear somebody say the word fuck to a fucker, well, I'm very sorry for you people. You better get a backbone, and you better get real. It's tough.